What's up YouTube? Welcome back. JDS Outdoors, John here. And in last video you saw that we cut out the bottom of the boat. Let's turn the camera around and do a quick recap. So if you watched episode 4, you'd see that we got the bottom of the boat here cut out. This is the biggest, most expensive piece of aluminum because it's the thickest, and it also requires some of the longest bends, one of which I did not want to modify. And what I mean by that is we cut it out on the CNC, and I had the CNC cut the front and I did the back by hand. And this section right there to right there needs to be bent, and then there to there needs to be bent on both sides, so that way the center keel stays flat. And this chunk of metal is too long to fit in my bender over there, which is fine. It's an easy thing to modify with other pieces, but being this is the bottom, I did not want to do that. And what I mean by modify is, take this side for example. So the side has this section here to here that needs to be bent a couple times. However, the dimensions on this bend are 65 3/4 of an inch, this distance to this distance. And my bender only does up to 62 inches. So being this is just a side piece and it needs to get bent over at 290s, we'll just make that by hand. So in Fusion, my plan is, and what I did, is I cut this section off flat, which leaves just this shape here to get cut out. And another thing I did is that since this is almost 10 feet long here to here and the CNC is only 8 feet long, from here back is all straight cuts. That's easy to do by hand. Up front here has this goofy angle here and this goofy angle here. We want that to be cut out by the computer. So coming over to the computer, you can see what I did. Cut the top off and I cut the back off. So this is like 7.5 feet total, which will fit in the machine just fine. But it cuts out all the hard stuff for me, and I don't have to worry about making sure my angles are right. We got the left side and the right side, same thing. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to transfer that, the flash drive, over to the cut computer, and we're going to cut both these sides out and then finish the back parts by hand, this section here, much like we did with the front. Let the computer cut out the hard stuff, and I'll finish the easy stuff by hand. So let's go load up a sheet of metal, because all that's in there right now is that diamond plate, and get this puppy cut out. Well, I'm sure as you saw, the majority of the stuff is cut out. there was a lot of cutting. We got the transom cut. The sides are cut leaning up over there. And I don't know how, but I missed on the blueprint that the sides from that tip there to the transom are supposed to be 130 inches, and I only bought 10-foot sheets. But that's okay. I made these pieces here that will extend it out the last 10 inches. So transom, sides, bottom, the rest of the sides, the bulkhead for the upper part of the firewall right there. That is the lower keel made out of 1/4 inch. And then we got the, I don't know which one exactly is which. I'll have to look at the blueprint. But one of these is the front seat mount, and the other one is the lower firewall. So not exactly sure which one, but like I said, blueprint will tell me that. And then all of the stringers are cut, and I don't know if you could tell in that last video clip running on the table, but this sheet was giving me some issues. It was warping and bouncing all over the place, and I ended up wrecking 2 of the stringers. I didn't finish cutting this one out here, and it missed another one here, but that's okay. I doubled up on them. And these 2 that weren't cut out are the back ones. So they're supposed to be 3/16 thick. I don't have 3/16, so I was going to do double 1/8 inch, which that's what this sheet is 1/8 inch. Double 1/8 inch, make it 1/4 inch thick, so that should give it quite a bit more rigidity. And then weld it and whatnot. But the back part, initially I was going to use some angle iron. Some 2x3 1/8 inch thick angle. So we can still use that. The nice thing about that angle is it gives a flat spot for the motor mount. So we got 2 of those that actually worked, those 2 long ones there. And then we'll just butt up some angle iron in the back once we start the assembly process, which is the next step. The transom needs to be bent a couple spots there. That'll fit in that bender. But the bottom, we're going to have to cut by hand. And I think that's going to go with a cut, bend by hand, and weld territory, so to speak. Which I don't quite like, but I also don't have another way to bend it. So it is what it is. And I picked up some wire, this is 50-52 aluminum, so I got 53-56 alloy to run in the miller, which, by the way, the next video we're going to be setting that up for aluminum with a spool gun, and also doing all the bending and start assembling this, because right now it's just a bunch of flat pieces of metal. Most of it's cut out, so that's the plus. That is the plus. Most of it's cut out. I still got to cut out the bow cap and the back, but I'm going to wait and do that custom. And then we also got to cut out this rounded piece that goes here. But my plan for that is, because cutting that round piece by hand is going to suck with a saw, so I ordered a hand torch for the plasma cutter. So I will tack in one side, because I've already got that rounded side cut, the remainder of that piece. So tack that in, and then we'll plasma cut off the excess, and it is what it is at that point. So that should work good, because we can assemble it or cut it when it's assembled on the boat. So at least that's how it works in my head. But there's a lot of cutting. A lot of cutting. The stringers alone took 45 minutes to cut. The transom and the other pieces, all that was pretty fast. So anyways, if you want to see the next episode of this, feel free to follow along. And as always, thank you for watching JDS Outdoors. I know this one was a little bit boring because there's just a lot of cutting, but part of the process. So thanks again, YouTube.